Welcome to this session of Ghazali on Prudent Media. In Ghazali, we meet persons who contribute to the well-being of the community, who tread a different path, who make a difference to society. Today, we have a person who has been working tirelessly in the area which is not often visited by people. Though music is liked by everybody, everyone enjoys music. Music is a stress buster. Music entertains. Music brings peace of mind. And here is someone who has lived with music, who has worked with music to help those who are often disowned by the community. We have Dr. Margaret Lobo with us. Dr. Margaret Lobo, who has been in the field of music therapy for the past 3 decades and more. She is here on a visit to Goa to explore and understand what is the status of the field of disability rehabilitation and how can her work bring some solace to those who are in need. Welcome to Ghazali.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Margaret, our viewers would like to know exactly how this all started.
Yes. I think that the most important thing is communication. And having had an illness where I was no longer able to communicate, and because I had polio and one of my vocal cords was paralyzed, it was just a road of discovery that I wanted now in my life to be able to help those who had communication difficulties. And we started in London 28 years ago. I qualified as a music therapist at the Guildhall School of Music. And from that point, my husband and I set up a center in the back of our garden in London so that we could serve the community. And we started 25 years ago with just 2 children and myself working as a qualified music therapist. And now we have over 250 children, adults, and the elderly who come to our center every week. And we also work in 17 outreach areas, which is schools, hospitals, cancer care, dementia. And so it is a medium of work that is open to everybody. And when I was invited 11 years ago to bring this work to India, because it didn't exist, the whole purpose of coming here was, because my husband is Indian, was to offer something to India for India, not offer something from the West and tell people what they should be doing. And so after 30 years of traveling around India and meeting many, many musicians, one found out that what they really wanted was to be able to use their music in a deeper way. And so my husband and I decided the best thing was to set up a postgraduate diploma in clinical music therapy. Because in the beginning I was told by people, oh, well, I'm a music therapist. I go in and I sit in a room and I play a raga, etc. And that is wonderful because I have also studied Indian music. But to actually give people a high standard of training where parents know that they have a person who has the skills, whether it's, say, a child in this case with autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, whatever the behavioral or physical problems, we train people how to work around that. And I think that is the most important thing, the standard of excellence of our training program in India, which means when our students qualify from the postgraduate diploma training program, they are ready and skilled to go out into the community and work with people less abled and people who do need these skills. So I think it is very important that people are properly trained, and therefore we have our exam at the end of the year, which is examined by the head of music therapy of Cambridge University. We also have international lecturers that we are in touch with. Some of them volunteer to come to India and work for a short period with the students. Some of them are also on Skype, and they give Skype lectures in the speciality of their field, because you might want to specialize and not work overall. But I would recommend that anybody who has qualified and starts to work in the community, that person gets as much experience overall as they possibly can, and then gradually begins to specialize. Because I began working with people of all abilities, less abilities, people with stress, and I found that by doing that, I became a much better music therapist. So that's very, very important. So I think that the training of excellence and an excellent standard is very important. We do have our certification from RCI to do workshops in education. And so we hope that's what we'll be able to start doing here in Goa, is start to train special educators who are working with all children mainly and young people. And seeing that, I'm sure that they would be very grateful to have more on-hand training. I think that would be very important.
In UK, in such special schools, do they have provision for music therapy?
Yes, they do. A lot of schools do, because now we have an inclusive schooling, and that inclusive gives a specific number of children who are on the autistic spectrum or perhaps have a physical disability. And so these children are given more care, they're given more attention, and they also sometimes have one-to-one help throughout the day, the whole day. And of course, they also have equipment that we provide, and equipment that will teach the young people, particularly computer equipment, which is very, very helpful to children who find it difficult to communicate. It's very, very helpful. And some people who find it difficult to speak will start to communicate through the computer system. And that is very, very helpful to these children.
As you started with this process, what was the overall, say, response or reaction of the community? How did you really feel about the community looking at your work?
I think the important thing is to make people aware. This is not just going in and playing an instrument. This is actually using your instrument in a therapeutic way, as a therapeutic tool. And you will find that every single human being will respond to music, no matter what the condition. And it's an interactive program. So immediately the child interacts with the therapist. And that could be with just one instrument. It could be interacting with a keyboard and a drum. And then gradually we expand that child's knowledge. And also it's very important we use singing
Okay.
as a medium, because a lot of children find it extremely difficult to speak what they're feeling, but they can sing it. And also writing their own story. It's very interesting to get these young people writing their own story. And we also create songs around the stories that they write. And that's beautiful to see these children putting their feelings, their love, their care, and the whole time they're in a session with the therapist, they are given undivided attention. And the development of that child will start from day one and keep growing. And the therapist will have a very careful plan of how that child can continue to develop. But we do not force anything on the child. And in the beginning, you might have a child, for instance, who wants to go out of the room, and he'll go out 10 times.
Yeah.
And then you coach the child back in through the music. And what you find is what began 10 times very soon becomes 5 times, 4 times, and then all of a sudden they're in the room the whole time. And they have such a trust of the therapist, and the parents have full confidence in the therapist because they have been very skilled at their training. And that's what we would like to see all special needs children have now, is a therapist who has a therapeutic tool. Might not train as a music therapist, but we have given that teacher the skill of how to use music therapeutically, so that the joy and the love of the music keeps developing in the child.
As we see around in special schools, we may not be having many graduates. Your diploma is a postgraduate diploma, as you said.
It is, and we are examined by Cambridge University and by Melbourne University also. So although we don't have accreditation yet with an institution, we make sure that our students are examined exactly the way they're examined every other country in the West. And of course, every other country in the West, it is state registered by the government.
Okay.
And that's what we would love to see here. And I think you will see it.
Okay.
It is coming, because I have been talking to ministers, I've been talking to teachers and doctors, and they really feel that this is the right step for their children to grow. And so when we train special educators, we will train smaller groups.
Yeah.
We will try and train 10 at a time.
Okay.
And it will be a 2-day workshop over a 6-month period. And we will try and fit it in so that these special educators can come during the time they have off of school, because they work very hard. They're not respected enough for the wonderful work they do. I met yesterday a group of special educators, and they were absolutely wonderful and so devoted to helping the children. And they do try to use a little bit of music with them, but it's not a music that will help the child really grow. But when we saw them using music, the delight in the child was wonderful.
The way the present special education is going on, we realize that it's often the life skills that are taught, and children are enabled to stand up for themselves.
Yes.
But there is much more to life. It's not just the basic needs.
Yes.
It's the emotional enrichment,
Yes.
and being oneself. So raising that self-esteem.
Yes.
Does music help in that?
Tremendously. We've started the very first music school for special needs children in the UK. And for the last 3 years, we have built that up. And all of the children now are learning an instrument, all of the children are going for music exams at the Royal College of Music. We have already had 9 children do their exams and that will be violin, keyboard, guitar, flute, saxophone, percussion. And because of that, these children are excelling way beyond what we ever imagined they could. And because of that, they're also making friends. And I think that's so important. And their confidence to get up and speak in front of people. These children are now giving concerts to over 300 people. And recently they were invited to perform with an orchestra in London, a 70-piece orchestra. And it was just magic, because the conductor said, how wonderful to work with children who have worked with an orchestra before. But of course they hadn't. You see, there's no ego in these children. When they're given something to learn, they love learning, and they love excelling, and they love the applause. You know, whenever they get a chance to bow to the audience, they are so happy and proud. And what is so wonderful is how proud the parents are. And we have also looked at how we can help the parent, because parents just devote so much of their life to their children. And so we started a parents' well-being and singing group, and we meet with the parents once a week. And these parents are delighted because we do some yoga, we do a lot of yoga breathing, Sanskrit sounding, we do singing, and now they're performing, and now our local council have entered us to do a big competition. You know, and these were all people, out of the 24 people, I think 20 said they'd never sung and they couldn't sing. And now they're singing all the time and so happy. So we also have to look at workshops for parents. It's very important that the parents also are given the help and the attention. So we like to give parents workshops where they have skills, they can go home and they can use those skills in the home, and that helps their child. And if they observe the child's music therapy session, they are seeing what the therapist is doing, and the therapist will give them notes and a plan. Now do this with your child at home and do that, but don't force the child. The child will naturally grow in the music, and giving the child that full attention for that session each time, that child really is very happy, and so are the parents. So it is very important that we have these skills now here in India, and in Delhi, our training program has now qualified over 20 music therapists, who most are working in their own community. They will come to Delhi for 1 year, do the training, and when they qualify, they will go back to their community. And when they go back, they offer their service to schools particularly, and hospitals. And we're working in Delhi with the Vimhans in mental health, and that has been absolutely wonderful, because we have a Dr. Chowdhury there who is so positive about music therapy that he allocated a special music room for our therapists and purchased through fundraising instruments for all of the people to learn to play. And also we're working in the Indian Head Injuries Foundation, and that has been amazing, because we're working with children, very small children with cerebral palsy, and also children with very physical ailments, and that has been wonderful to see. And we recently gave a presentation at the Indian Head Injuries Foundation, and the Maharaja of Jodhpur twice now has come and spoken to us about our work and praised it. So I was told in the beginning, you will never find employment for all of these therapists. We could have people employed 7 full days a week, because the need is so great, and the confidence these organizations have in our work because of the skills that we've given people. They have full confidence in what the therapists are doing.
That has been a wonderful journey. I'm sure there must be so many stumbling blocks and difficulties and so many things.
Yes.
But from the spirit that you have been radiating, it has been a labor of love.
It has, and a great blessing, a great blessing. It has been difficult because when you pioneer something, you know, as we have with music therapy in India, and we have also trained 4 Nepalese therapists, and they are now working full-time in Nepal. When you have trained people and you help them in their work, you give them ongoing support. They're there at the end of a phone, at the end of Skype. They can talk to you. You can help them develop the work. We give workshops, regular workshops to the community. So they're aware of the fact that this is a very skilled training. And we love to see all of these musicians use their skill for the helping of others and serving their community.
Dr. Margaret, what I realize is that there is so much to do and very few people in the field. Yes. Is government doing something? Have you seen in your interaction whether government authorities are looking at this work or they are coming forward to support, or do you have any such proposals for the government?
I do. I think that the government, recognizing that the governments in the West support music therapy wholeheartedly, and it is state registered. When I say state, I mean the UK, and it is state registered so that you cannot practice as a clinical music therapist unless you have done the training and unless you are under the state registration. And I think that's very important because we don't want people who say, oh, I've done a workshop, I can now be a music therapist. It takes a lot of devotion, a lot of hard work and commitment, but it changes your life. Every therapist who has trained with us said that this has been the most wonderful year of their lives because they've learned so much. And last year we had 7 wonderful young ladies do the training, and they were just brilliant. All of them have been brilliant because their heart has been in it. If your love isn't in it, it's not for you. It has to be a service to the community and a devotion to the training, which is very important. And we now have the wish to have a master's program here in India because a lot of people want to go abroad now, once they've done the training, the postgraduate. Anybody in the West wants them because they have recognized in every country in the West that the training program we have here in India is of the highest quality. And twice now we have been asked by the United Nations to send articles on our work in India and Nepal because they recognize the excellence. So we need the government to be more interactive with us. And because we have been state registered in the UK, our own charity, for 28 years, because of that, we have the knowledge and the experience to guide people and to say to them, don't do this, don't do that. It's very important that these people are on the right path to training. Very important.
Correct. What we realize here is that often the institutions have been doing their work in a framework.
Yes.
Which is set, maybe RCI, maybe some agency, and they work within that.
Yes.
Music therapy has to enter that framework.
Yes.
Do you have some plan for that?
Yes, we do, because that's why we want to work with the teachers. If we work with the teachers and we work with the parents, then what you have is a very firm foundation on the work that you're doing. And if we get the funding, we are always, like everybody in this field, short of finances. So we need a sponsor. We need a sponsor that is going to take this amazing work on. And we need that sponsorship for the next 5 years. And that's what we're aiming for now. It's very important that we have people who are able, with social responsibility, to really embrace this training program. It is unique to India, and India has thousands of years of healing through music. If we can now add to that the training of the clinical work, because if you have an autistic child, you make sure you have the best person to help that child. And we want to ensure parents that we are doing that. It is vital that the parents know that this program is really for them and their child, and to give everybody a better quality of life. They deserve that. They deserve a better quality of life. And I would one day love to see all of these children playing instruments and singing and dancing, because it is a great part of their exploration, and they get the opportunity to really speak about their life and their feelings. Very important.
That's true. Music encompasses life. Music encompasses all stages of life. And in fact, life has so much music in it. Maybe there are people who are yet to explore it, who are yet to enjoy it. Music therapy, and clinical music therapy in particular, is the way to go ahead, to reach out to these people and to support them, to walk with them, to see that they walk on their own strength and steam. Dr. Margaret, it has been wonderful to talk to you.
I just wanted to also say we work a lot with deaf children and blind children, and these are the children that really deserve to have music in their lives as well as all children, whether disabled or not.
That's true.
Yes.
In fact, whether it is young or old, whether it is rich or poor, everyone needs music, has music. It's only this kind of work that can take them to music and bring music in their life.
Yes.
I thank you for all that you have said and done for these children. All the best.
It's a great blessing. Thank you very much. Thank you.